Welcome to the Tennessee Department of Transportation's virtual open house for the creation of the statewide active transportation plan. The plan will be an important guide to all of TDOT staff on how we identify, plan, fund, and design infrastructure that allows people to safely walk, bicycle, use a wheelchair, or ride a scooter on Tennessee state roads. This open house is one of two opportunities planned for the public to provide important input as the plan is developed. The second opportunity will take place in the fall. We appreciate your participation in this event. TDOT is making it safer to walk, bicycle, ride a wheelchair, or take a scooter along state routes. While we have made active transportation safer in recent years, we know there's a lot more work to do. With Tennesseans like you, the Tennessee Department of Transportation will improve how we build and maintain infrastructure for you to walk, bike, ride a scooter, or use a wheelchair and more. We invite you to tell us more about your experiences traveling on state roads and help make a great plan for everyone. The most important thing we need to hear from you today are your ideas about walking, bicycling, and rolling in Tennessee. After this presentation, please complete an important survey and add comments to a map of your community. So what exactly is active transportation? Active transportation not only includes people walking and bicycling, it also involves people using a variety of human-powered, self-propelled, and low-speed electric devices. These devices include wheelchairs, scooters, personal mobility scooters, and other types of rolling devices. Active transportation users are the most vulnerable roadway users because they're at greatest risk of an injury when involved in a crash with a car or a truck. In addition, roads are typically designed for vehicles, leaving pedestrians and bicyclists to a lower level of protection. Transit is an important component of Tennessee's overall transportation system and provides critical transportation service for residents. Most people walk or bike to transit stops. Therefore, planning for active transportation infrastructure also includes a thorough understanding of where transit exists. There are a variety of ways to make walking safe and convenient in urban, suburban, and rural areas. These images provide examples of such infrastructure, including sidewalks, crosswalks, and even a pedestrian bridge. Sidewalks and shared use paths separate pedestrians from vehicles and, ideally, they have a large amount of space between them. A raised concrete curb or vegetated buffer can provide a physical barrier between people and vehicles, which makes it safer for people to walk. Providing well-designed, contextually appropriate walkways increases the safety, comfort, and convenience of pedestrian travel for users of all ages and ability levels. Crosswalks, pedestrian signals, median islands, lighting, and pedestrian bridges or tunnels also improve safety for pedestrians. There's also a wide range of bicycle facilities that exist across the state. In rural places where traffic and bicyclist volumes are relatively low, a wide paved shoulder can provide a bicyclist with enough dedicated space to travel next to traffic. In urban and suburban places, or even small towns, it's preferable for bicyclists to be as far away from the vehicles as possible, for example, with a bicycle lane or a greenway. Now that we've established what active transportation is, as well as the types of facilities and supporting elements that are generally associated with those modes, let's talk about the relationship between TDOT and active transportation, specifically the department's roles and responsibilities in constructing and maintaining active transportation facilities. TDOT's mission statement is to provide a safe and reliable transportation system that supports economic growth and quality of life. As a multimodal transportation agency, TDOT has responsibilities in aviations, waterways, railroads, public transit, and roadways. Regarding roadways in Tennessee, TDOT specifically manages the interstate and state route systems, while municipalities, counties, and other state agencies are responsible for all their roadways. TDOT divides the state into 4 regions for administrative purposes. While TDOT's headquarters are in Nashville, each region has their own office of dedicated staff, ranging from design engineers, maintenance workers, and planners that serve the communities in their respective regions. Even along state routes, there are a number of partners beyond TDOT that contribute to the construction and maintenance of various parts of the public right-of-way. This image illustrates the general roles and responsibilities for active transportation facilities along a state route within a city. At the most basic level, TDOT constructs pedestrian and bicycle facilities when possible, and municipalities and counties are largely in charge of their upkeep. TDOT has made significant progress over the last 10 years in the planning, design, construction, and maintenance of active transportation facilities along routes. These images are examples of walking and biking projects in Tennessee that have been built during this time frame. They reflect TDOT's increased flexibility in facility and roadway designs, the department's willingness to construct more robust facilities such as safe, signalized pedestrian crossings, as well as the department's routine incorporation of walking and bicycling improvements during other types of roadway projects, most notably when roadways are repaved. The statewide active transportation plan will build on this momentum by identifying further improvements to TDOT's design manuals, processes, and policies, ultimately leading to a more efficient and effective delivery of the quality walking and bicycling infrastructure. Early in the plan's development, a report was developed to establish a high-level understanding of the existing conditions and trends that contribute to walking and bicycling environments and demand in Tennessee. This final section of the presentation highlights key findings from the analysis as well as their importance when planning for walking and bicycling facilities. Understanding Tennessee's population can provide important clues about travel preferences and behavior. Characteristics such as population growth, age, disability, and other factors have a strong influence on the demand for walking and bicycling. For some Tennesseans, walkways and bikeways are critical for daily life, especially if they don't have the ability to drive or access transit, even in rural settings. Transportation systems that lack safe and convenient walking and biking facilities can create unsafe travel conditions for pedestrians and cyclists and limit access to jobs, shopping, education, and many other goods and services. Based on U.S. Census estimates, TDOT's Region 1, which includes the metropolitan areas of Knoxville and Tri-Cities, grew by an estimated 27,000 residents between 2014 and 2018. Understanding where growth has been occurring and is likely to occur is an important consideration when planning for pedestrian and bicycling infrastructure. As the map shows, a number of cities and suburbs have the highest population densities in Region 1. When planning future transportation improvements, it's also important to identify groups, such as people making a lower income, who may not have access to the same resources as the rest of the population and rely on walking and bicycling more. Younger and older residents, as well as those living with a disability, might walk or bicycle more if they're unable to drive. Unlike the population map, higher concentrations of traditionally underserved populations exist in urban areas, rural areas, and also small towns. Compared to other regions in the state, Region 1 has the highest percentage of the population living with a disability and the lowest average median household income. Now, let's talk about the transportation system. How roadways are designed has an impact on the safety and comfort of bicyclists and pedestrians. This includes characteristics such as number of travel lanes, how wide the lanes are, how much and how fast traffic is traveling, even if a paved roadway shoulder is present. Region 1 contains approximately 2,930 miles of state highway. The vast majority of the region has two-lane roads, which are generally found in rural settings. Roadways with 4 or 5 lanes provide connections into and out of the region, as well as into and within Region 1's metropolitan areas. Vehicle speed is a major determinant of pedestrian and bicyclist safety along roadways. Pedestrians struck by a car traveling at a speed of 20 miles an hour have a 90% likelihood of surviving the crash, while those struck at 30 miles per hour only have a 50% chance of survival. For those struck by a car traveling at 40 miles per hour, the likelihood of survival is only 10%. State routes typically have posted speed limits of 40 miles per hour and greater. This map illustrates the average amount of traffic each state route carries over the course of a day. As expected, those in or near metropolitan areas tend to carry more, with the heaviest volumes found in the Knoxville region. Like vehicle speed, traffic volumes have a strong influence on pedestrian and bicyclist safety. Here, you see state and national parks, as well as bicycle routes. The Mountains route uses a combination of state routes and local roadways to connect communities such as Gatlinburg, Greenville, Kingsport, and Jonesboro. The dashed purple routes are proposed as regional bicycle route connections. Finally, let's touch on how well the roadway system is performing from a safety perspective. The crash history between vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists is crucial for identifying safety improvement opportunities. In the past 5 years, from January 2015 through December 2019, there were just over 1 million vehicular crashes in Tennessee. 6,648 involved a pedestrian and 2,098 involved a bicyclist. The percentage of fatal vehicular crashes was 0.4%, while the percentage of fatal pedestrian and bicycle crashes was 7%. Of the roughly 8,700 pedestrian and bicycle crashes statewide, 15% of the pedestrian crashes and 19% of the bicyclist crashes occurred here in Region 1. Between 2015 and 2019, there were 107 pedestrian fatalities in the region, with 244 people being seriously injured. 14 bicyclists died, and 144 were seriously injured. The map specifically illustrates severe crashes that occurred on state-managed roadways. This completes the presentation. Thank you very much for taking the time to participate in the statewide active transportation plan. Following this, please go online to our survey and tell us more about how TDOT can improve walking, bicycling, scooter, and wheelchair access for you.